Adam and Todd, ready to make a change. In the heart of the desert where the sweat drips like rain. Talking fitness and coaching, finding strength in every stride. We'll pump up your motivation, take you on a wild ride. Fit Talk, here we go. It's time to get in the zone. Rocking and rolling will help you find your own.
Okay, good to go. But look, the main thing is we're on the way up. That's the key
It's
thing.
an upwards trajectory.
Upward trajectory. Look at this. I mean, it's like when you go to like Southeast Asia, Vietnam, with black spaghetti wires.
Yes,
everywhere on the street.
yeah. It's an Italian podcast. We have spaghetti. Yeah.
But the main thing now, we've got microphones. So you'll see we've got our brand new microphones. So you should be hearing us
Crisp, clear.
more crisp and clearer than before.
Production quality has increased tenfold, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Within 2 episodes or 3 episodes.
3 episodes.
3 episodes now. So then the next stage will be the camera. So then you'll be able to see us more clearly, which could be a
Yeah.
good thing or a bad
Probably
thing.
a bad thing, but
Maybe we should just stick with the budget camera.
maybe no camera.
I don't think anyone really wants to see
Yeah.
us, to be honest. So, cool. Well, look, episode. What are we on now?
It'd be
5.
It'd be 4, I think. We'll
4.
do this one. Yeah.
Yeah. So today we're going to go through some of the Q&A, so question and answers that we put out on our social medias the other day. Obviously, we're only going to talk about the questions that
That we wanted to answer.
we wanted to answer and that are acceptable. Let's move this bottle. And that kind of reasonable, because we had some not so good questions coming through, which is always the case. So
Yeah.
we'll go through some of the questions that are more relative to the talk show and the podcast
Yes.
today. Yeah. So I think one of the first questions was, what are the most important things to consider outside of the gym? Nutrition, mindset, etc.
Just nailed it. Yeah, you answered the question in the question.
You've answered your own question in the question, with all of it.
Yeah.
What would you say? What are some of the most important things to consider outside of the gym?
I mean, it's the generic answer of sleep.
But for me, I'm like,
nutrition.
well, it depends, because it's like,
Depends
what
on-
are you
I guess, yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
This is like, for me, this question is like, could you be any more vague?
If it's an athlete, focus on your sport
Yeah.
more than you should focus in the gym.
Yeah.
Sport should be your main thing. If you're just a general dude or dudette in the gym, then yeah, just sleep, get a good diet. Just try to do things well outside of the gym. Attack the gym attack the stuff outside of the gym as you're doing it in the gym.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And, cause some of the common sayings is like, look, you've got to train hard but recover harder.
Yeah.
The 1 hour in the gym is the funnest part. The other 23 hours is the hardest part.
Yeah, that's where you ruin it all. Yeah, pretty
Like, a lot
much.
of people do. But once people start building that habit of training, and it's become consistent, it's part of their lifestyle now, then they've got to start focusing on the other parts. And that, for me, that's always the kind of progression. Is like, just get training, get moving first, and then normally start looking at nutrition, your sleep, your recovery, all these other bits. Because I think movement, unless most people come to us, they want to move in some shape or form. We're not. People will go to a nutrition coach because they want to do nutrition first, maybe whatever else. But even that side, I still think, of course, you can't out-train a bad diet. But I would generally say, look, just start. Most people do not move enough compared to what our bodies are capable of and can actually do. We don't move anywhere near enough. Especially, we're in the Middle East, we're in Saudi. People just don't move generally. I mean, from your experience, like on average of your clients, what is the average steps they're taking per day?
Less than 3,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Less than 3,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
Because everything's convenient.
You drive everywhere.
Yeah.
It's hard to walk
Driven.
around driven. No, but yeah, that's it. Like when you're in Europe, it's easy to walk to the shops or to work or whatever.
Public transport.
Public transport. So you're
The
standing up,
bus stops,
walking around.
the tube stations.
Here it's like jump in the car, park outside work, go in.
Or you get dropped off outside the door.
That's
and
it.
The
Yeah.
driver or whoever, the valet parks it for you.
Yeah, it's totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just go from sitting in one place to sitting in another place.
Yeah.
Maybe take 10 steps in between.
So yeah, how do we answer that question?
I think, sit outside of the gym. I think nutrition is obviously important. We know it's important. We know sleep is important, isn't it? And training. They're like the biggest three.
Yeah, big three.
To attack initially, I think as coaches, that's what I always look to go. Obviously, I focus more on movement first, unless the client really wants to go. Focus. If I see like the biggest red flag is sleep.
Yeah.
But even then, I think some people really struggle with sleep because they're not active enough.
Yeah.
They don't exhaust their bodies enough.
Yeah.
Maybe they're mentally exhausted, but they're not physically exhausted. And so, if I've had clients in the past who are, I really struggle with sleep, and then I train them for one session, and they literally pass out.
Yeah,
straight
knocked
afterwards.
out. Yeah. Well, just think about yourself. Like, let's say you go on holiday or whatever, and you take a few days off. You just start to not sleep as much. I don't anyway.
Yeah.
Like
when you're less active.
Only
need 6 hours sleep, maybe.
Yeah. But when you train, you're like, I just want to lie down.
And when you go higher intensities, you're doing heavier stuff.
For sure.
More power work, more neurologically demanding stuff.
Yeah, the neural stuff makes you sleep.
You want to sleep more. So that's like, with some mothers or fathers who I train, especially when they just had kids. Like, even myself personally, I could not do really heavy work. And that's why I dropped Olympia lifting a lot, especially when I had Poppy and my kid. Because you just don't get enough sleep.
Yeah.
And you can't do a proper program. Like, you just can't do it.
Yeah.
And maybe I do, instead of doing it once a week, I do it like once every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I just don't have the neural,
to go
really
for it.
do it.
Yeah.
But I can do all the lower intensity stuff, like capacity, 60%, up to 80%, and anything 80% plus.
Just fried.
You're just exhausted. You don't have that neural energy. It's all being just sapped from just lack of sleep, basically. And just. And especially when you have kids and then running around all day with them and all this sort of stuff. But I would say nutrition, you got to get that going. Whether you start with water, we talked about this a lot on another podcast. Nutrition, start with water, protein intake, and just cleaning up the quality of the food generally. Like minimize, lessen the amount of processed stuff. Start going towards more natural stuff that grows out of the ground and hangs off trees and all this, had eyes and all that sort of stuff. If it had, what was the saying? If it had eyes, hung off a tree or grew out of the ground, you can eat it, sort of thing. Start in that sort of principle. And then
keep it simple.
And then mindset wise, sure, but look, I think physical changes happen a lot faster than mental changes.
Yeah, definitely.
Mindset can take years for people, and it may never happen. And I think because mindset is more of an influence of maybe your environment, like who you surround yourself with, and where you are in the world, and who you're with, and who you're talking to, and all this sort of stuff. So that's a big factor.
Well, and when you start like getting into the gym, you probably won't be able to push yourself that hard when you first get in there.
Yeah.
Then as time goes on, you build that mindset to be able to train a bit harder, work a bit harder, make more changes, and like your physical, whatever you're doing physically, you're kind of forcing yourself to do it initially, maybe, but then as you go on, that becomes more natural, and then you can push a bit harder and keep going.
Yeah, I find it's a growing, what with, the environment, what you're currently living in, that can affect if you, always spend your time inside or in dark rooms, or you're not getting outside, you're not walking, but then movement helps you feel better.
Yeah.
It changes your mindset. Where they show, like, the biggest thing they're talking about now, and we've known it for a long time, is for depression and then even anxiety, but especially depression, movement is one of the best treatments for it. Feeling better. So that, changing your mindset, get yourself around mindsets that you aspire to be like. I think further, then another thing is just awareness. You've got to become aware of who you are. Self-awareness, that's always one of the first steps with that. But, I think practices for mindset stuff that kind of help. Journaling is a good thing. Just yourself, just start writing things down that you're thinking about, and then processing that yourself, and then you start being aware of, like, actually, this is what I'm thinking about, this is what I'm doing, or for me, it always starts with awareness. Like when you're training, like I say with injuries, it's making that person. Sometimes you can fix most things just by coaching them, because you're making them aware of what they're currently doing.
It's the most important thing.
Did you know you're actually shifting, to the left on when you're doing a squat every single time? With no load, let alone with load and with fatigue. I
think a lot of coaches they're always too quick to add a band or put some crazy thing on.
Coach.
Just tell them
Yeah.
what's going wrong and what to do.
And they're saying,
Yeah.
oh, this, because in the books it says like,
Yeah,
if
this
you
imbalance and
weight
this
shift
yeah.
on one leg, this means these muscles are tight, these muscles
Yeah.
are weak.
And they start doing all these crazy stuff, but it's like, just tell them,
Just coach.
keep your knees out, and they just do
Yeah.
it. You're like, oh, okay.
Stay in the middle, or do
Yeah.
it in front of a mirror initially, so you
Yeah.
can see yourself squatting, and just stay in the middle.
Yeah, yeah,
It's awareness, and that's what I think. Like, so I think the mindset stuff. Sleep. Obviously, once you start moving more, you're going to start sleeping better generally, unless you're just like crazily taking other drugs or you're over caffeinating yourself super slow. Right next to bed, and if that affects you. But generally, once you start moving and exercising, you get tired, and you'll sleep deeper as well.
yeah,
I remember reading some research years ago saying generally like more aerobic based training helps you get to sleep faster.
yeah,
And then more anaerobic training, like lifting weights and sprints, actually then helps you sleep deeper. Which kind of makes sense. Like when you do the heavy stuff,
Yeah.
I sleep deep.
yeah.
And I'm out for
Yeah,
like
you
9
knock
hours.
out. Yeah, yeah.
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 And then I find like when I do more aerobic stuff, I fall asleep quicker. So that's why it's important to have both.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that reel the other day on Instagram. Some English guy, and he was saying like now fit, like to be fit, it's like I'm a hybrid and fitness. Remember that one?
Yeah, yeah, but it's just,
It's fitness.
That's just
being
fitness.
called fit. If
Yeah.
you can run and lift weights or lift yourself.
why is it always called hybrid?
But now it's hybrid.
It's just-
It's like I'm just like this hybrid.
Yeah.
People I think they just over like
They want to quantify things, put everything in little boxes, and there's
And everyone
this
thinks they're
term and
special.
this and that. Yeah, yeah.
they think I'm special. I'm this special like hybrid
Hybrid
version
athlete.
of a human.
Yes.
Yeah.
It sounds cool. Sounds cool.
It's like you're not, mate.
Yeah,
like
you
you
just-
you can run and
Yeah,
you can lift stuff.
yeah.
That's what humans should be able to do.
what they
really.
mostly
Carry
do,
things like
yeah.
all this like
Yeah.
just now because like we were talking about this. Me and you yesterday. We were having a coffee. It was like people just think like powerlifting is fitness.
Yeah,
Or bodybuilding is fitness.
Yeah.
It's not. That's a sport.
yeah, yeah.
It's like football is a sport. So like, your people just train specifically for that. Like weightlifting as a sport, all these things are sports. So, but general fitness you should be able to run, you should be able to swim, you should be able to, like the old PE programs,
Yeah. La Sierra.
Yeah,
Yeah.
climb, hang, pull-ups, all this calisthenics, bodyweight stuff, do a bit of
You
lifting.
find training's a lot more fun if you try and get good at a lot of different things.
Yeah.
You're never bored. There's always something new to do. There's
Yeah.
always something to do.
So, I think we pretty much answered that question. I don't
Yeah,
think
we
there's any
probably
more.
over answered it.
Yeah, but that's good.
That's what we do.
Filled in all the
That's what we
gaps.
do here. Yeah. What's the next one?
Okay, so how does the gym apply to other things in life? Oh, wow. That's a big one.
Okay, I have one.
Go on then.
So,
Kick us off.
I think there are a few concepts. When you learn about the principles of training, you learn about periodization and this kind of thing. Sometimes it applies to life,
Yeah.
like phase potentiation. So that concept is basically, one training phase sets up the next. So you do a hypertrophy phase, you build some muscle, then you do a strength phase, and you neurologically
Yeah,
get
demonstrate
better
everything.
to demonstrate everything. And that happens in life. Exactly the same thing. You might not know it, but when you retrospectively look back, you go, oh yeah, like this phase where I was learning about all this stuff and I was poor and couldn't make any money, but I was studying. And then you go into work and you start to use those skills and then you build from there. And it all kind of made sense when you look back.
Yeah.
So I think, you can, there's so many things within training that link to life as well.
Massive. Yeah.
Like, because in training you can't hide. You have to put work in to get results. And it's the same in work. It's the same in when you have
And it's
kids.
a slow process.
And it's a slow
And it has to
process. Yeah.
Extra stuff.
Yeah.
But generally, it's a very slow process. Like, you might train yourself really hard, like kill yourself, do drop sets, like totally smash yourself. And you look in the mirror afterwards straight away and nothing's changed.
You look worse.
There's no instant gratification
No,
in
nothing.
training.
No.
Zero.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. People always, even yesterday, I had someone come to me. They're like, "Yeah, I just, I wish, like, when I get that pump on, then I could just keep it forever. I could just stay pumped. So then he's talking about drugs and everything else. But it's like, yeah, but that's the whole point. You have that, like, wow, and then it goes.
Yeah. Well, it's like
You know?
you keep a very, very small amount of that pump every time.
micro.
Tiny, non-noticeable.
Yeah.
But after 100 workouts, you were at the point of your pump flat before you've trained.
Yeah.
And it just slowly builds.
And after 10 years,
And then,
that's it. Like for me, like with, another question I built on top of this question is like, when do I often see results? And it's normally after 8 weeks.
yeah,
I say normally you will feel results after like 4 to 6 weeks. You know, you'll start feeling a bit different. Even strength wise, you'll feel different after 3-4 weeks of good, consistent training. Then, you know, you'll be able to see bits yourself after 8 weeks, 10 weeks. And then your friends, family, people who see you often will notice after, like, you know, 12, 14 weeks, something like that. They'll start saying, wow, you've changed.
Oh, you look different.
Yeah, you look changed. You know, so I think one of the big things is that instant gratification and delayed gratification. Because in the world now, everyone just is looking for this instant gratification, whether it's to get rich quick, whether it's to get results. That's why there's a huge, you know, it's an epidemic of steroid use, especially in like millennials and Gen Zers. It's only getting worse and worse and worse because they're just so used to getting anything they want now. The dopamine hits. You know, I just want to feel good for a second. I'm going to go on Instagram and watch some stories, or you know what I mean. Like I'm going to post something, get all these comments, and I feel good about myself, and then it goes. Yeah, it's all this like instant gratification all the time, and I think, you know, for that it just instills that discipline, the work ethic.
But it's like that, anything like worth, you know, I don't know what the saying is, like anything worth working for is difficult or something like that. So you know, if it's just easy and quick, it's nice for the moment, but it didn't really mean anything. Whereas if you had to work really hard for something over time, over years, decades, however long, and you achieve it at the end, it was definitely worth it. It would be much better than that quick short-term thing that you did. And you can have those short dopamine hits along the way. They're not separate from each other. But training is so like that.
Yeah, I think you know, whether it's, you know, how it applies directly or indirectly. I've had so many people over the years how it actually helped them so much in their business life. You know, whether they had their own businesses or they're working in big companies, whether it's directly, you know, just feeling way better, have more energy day to day. You know, they can feel mentally clearer. They're obviously getting leaner now. Like they feel more energy, all this stuff, or indirectly where they learn from some of the principles from coaching. You know, say us coaching our clients, they learn from that and they apply it into their own businesses. You know what I mean? So like the delayed gratification or squeezing out extra more, you know, sometimes, or, you know, doing hard things even if you don't want to. Or you're tired, you still
That's
turn
the other
up.
thing.
You know,
turning up, you don't really want to. You just keep consistency, keep going, and it all compounds over time.
Because like for me, one of my biggest mottos is like, you know, just doing something is better than nothing. You know what I mean? So every day do something, just something. You know, even if it's just go for a walk for 30 minutes. If you're so tired, or do some stretching, or you want to do, you know, CrossFit workout or whatever it is. I don't care. And what we generally learn, I was talking about, you know, at your, you know, community meeting the other day, is like with some of the guys, like what you eventually learn is that it doesn't matter how people are moving, just get them moving. As long as they're moving to what they enjoy, you know, something that they can stick to for long enough, because that's how you get results. If you can be consistent for long enough with some type of movement, you're going to get results. Whether it's Pilates,
doesn't really matter what you do.
Whether it's bodybuilding, whether it's whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You know, because there's many ways to, you know, program designs and types of, you know, training to get you into a good shape.
Well, it's that, you know, that pyramid, you know, you see it in textbooks and stuff, but adherence is the number one thing. Just doing whatever it is. It doesn't matter the sets and the reps and everything you want to analyze, but you have to do it. You have to do something, and then you can start to build on top of that.
That's it. I think, you know, and then eventually it just becomes like, you know, like for me now, like I don't really even count sets or reps or anything, you know, because I've been training for, I don't know, 15, nearly 20 years. And so now it's just like having the mindset, 'cause I'm not training for anything specific. Just go in and do work. You know, sometimes I'll do like 6 sets on something. Sometimes I'll just do 2 sets. Sometimes I'll do like 10 to 15 reps on something. And sometimes I'll just do 5 or 1. You know what I mean? Depending on the exercise and how I'm fit. If it's a new exercise, I'll do more sets. I'm trying to figure it out. But it's just like, just get work done. You know what I mean? Get the work in. Don't rest too long. You know, especially if you're not trying to peak for things or whatever. But just get in, do some work. Work for an hour. Set yourself a time limit or no limit. But just go do work. General stuff. Do some upper, lower body, whatever you feel. You know, especially like if you're very in tune with your bodies, or, you know, especially if you're a trainer or coach listening to this and you kind of know, like, play with it for a bit. You know, especially if you've got some foundations and something, go out there and just play. Try some different movements, see some stuff. Because like we were talking about yesterday, like, sure, you got to build the foundations Get good in the basic lifts first. Get a number of 5 or so years of just simple basic training under your belt. Go through all the rep ranges, different phases.
Follow the rules.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the best way to say it. Follow the rules for like the first 5 to 10 years of your lifting career and exercise career, and then start playing with it. Start just finding out actually what suits. What do I feel like doing? What suits me a little bit better than some other exercises? But I think that you just nailed it on the head. Just follow the rules initially, and then then start to explore more. Try different things. Play with and especially if you're a coach.
Another thing that relates to life.
Yeah.
When you're doing something new, follow the rules. Just learn it first. Once you know the rules, then you can break them.
That's it. 100%. And then start making up your own rules.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Whether it's doing your own business or whatever it is, you start making up your own rules and doing things your way. So I think training is essential. I know, like, it was on Joe Rogan shows. They talk about how actually the body controls the mind. You got to work out your body, otherwise your mind will just take over.
Yeah.
The body kind of keeps the mind calmer.
Yeah.
It keeps the mind at bay.
Yeah.
And having the disciplines, having some structure in your life, getting some vigorous activity in, especially.
It's kind of what we were trying to get at earlier. So that kind of thing. Yeah. Like, your mind will follow. Like if you,
otherwise your mind can just spiral out of control.
Yeah. There's nothing humbling it.
No.
Yeah.
I like that. Very nice. So I think just train. Yeah, that's the main thing. Train, and you'll see a lot of benefits from other areas in your life. Right, Todd, how are the splits going?
It's literally the most painful thing I've ever done. It's awful. For those of you that don't know, I'm trying to do the middle splits. It's the first like 10 days. I'm just moving. I'm just moving down.
Yeah.
And I've got to this point now. So it takes me like 3 to 4 rounds of like going into the middle splits to get to that point.
Your end point.
And then to push to that next centimeter is so hard. It's so difficult. Using a lot of PNF, which is helping.
Contract, relax.
Yeah.
So squeezing in, squeezing out.
Yeah. It's like squeezing my glutes out to try and almost push myself down into the position.
And how long were you doing the PNFs?
So I'll do like a 6-second contraction.
In. Squeezing it.
Yeah. And then I'll do the opposite again.
Yeah. 6 seconds out.
6 seconds out. And just kind of use that for a bit. Sometimes I go a bit longer. And then sometimes I'll just sit in it, static.
Yeah.
It's so
painful.
And
so that whole set will be like 2 minutes?
Yeah, so a bit shorter, about a minute.
Yeah.
And I'll do like 5 rounds of that. Minute rest, go again.
And why, for some of our listeners, why are you doing PNFs?
So it's speeding up the whole process massively. Do you want the science side of it, or do you want basically because it, like, when you're just sat in that static hold, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to
and you want to build strength.
And I want to build some strength. So
you don't want just pure laxity and
moving on, this is it. So the initial few days, I was just like, right, let's just stretch. I'm not going to worry about PNF too much. I'm just going to try and see what range I can get. Once I've hit that limit, then I'll go to PNF. And eventually you want to be able to support that position. So PNFs are a good place to start.
And are you using assistance still, like
so
parallettes?
Parallettes, the floor, rings, all different things.
I tried rings the other day. I'm still having not as like every day as you, but once a week for my lower body.
Yeah.
And rings felt nice because I could unload my legs a little bit, and then they could actually just go that bit further. They're not strong enough.
Well, this is it. Like the biggest problem I was having was that I'm getting to the point where I can't support myself in that position.
Yeah, because like even parallettes, just to get onto them sometimes they're too low or they're too high. And,
So, trying to support yourself, and then sometimes what I'll do is have a box behind me.
Yeah.
Sit onto the box. And then come up, so it's like a little dynamic. And I'm supporting myself just for a few seconds, then sit back down, sit up, back down, sit up, back down. It's just so painful. It's just so painful. Like getting out of it.
What, a couple of inches off the floor?
Yeah, I'm close. My calves are on the floor.
So get bigger calves, basically.
So basically, you get bigger adductors, bigger balls. Then I'll be good. But that's I'm close. I'm close. But I don't just want to be like dying in that position. I want it to be like I can sit there,
A monk.
just relax, just asleep, yeah, and be able to support myself in that
And
position
have weight.
and have weight. Just doing overhead press,
Juji Mufu, watch out. Todd's coming
yeah,
for
on
you.
the chairs. That's the goal. That's gonna take a long time.
Yeah, that's like 5 years.
Like, I think to get to the splits, it won't like full splits. It won't take much longer.
No.
But
But
to
then
support,
I think anyway, it's going to like 4 or 5 years.
yeah, easily.
Yeah, that's,
It's so tough. Like, yeah,
and then practicing along the way. Oh, just
yeah.
chairs just move out of it. This floor's too slippery,
Mate.
not slippery enough.
Some
One
of the times,
falls over.
like,
What if it's just like,
even when you're on the floor, and like you get out into that, you're really there.
Yeah.
And then you start to roll back. You can just feel, it's
But you think I need it because I tore my groins, and then I've also just because my ankles, my groins are just not very active.
Yeah.
So all the ankle sprains and everything. But yeah, But actually, have you got Juji Mufu's ebook?
no, I haven't. No.
Because I think he has a whole of how he did it. And
I've listened to him talk about how he did it.
Yeah.
He's very just like I just did it every day. Just
But now
it's
he's
kind of
massive.
yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, what is he like? 200 and
Yeah, he's a
40
heavy
pounds,
dude.
120 kilos,
Yeah.
125 kilos. Just bodybuilder and still
Super
ridiculously flexible.
But like I had a few people ask like, why are you doing it? And it was just like,
That is a very good
it's
question.
a great question. It kind of goes back to this thing. It's like, look, we're training.
Yeah.
Why are we training? You go on forever, right?
Worst case scenarios.
It's like worst case scenarios. At any point, I can just. But it's like, look, I don't do any stretching. Zero. I used to, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Now I do zero. I was like, it'd be nice to do a bit of flexibility training.
Yeah, and you're naturally very mobile from your swim
Naturally
days.
mobile, yeah. So now it's
You
like,
only experienced gravity about 10 years ago. for
yeah,
the
I
first
only
time.
just felt gravity a few years ago. Now I'm trying
So it was just like-
now I'm trying to overcompensate. Yeah.
You're like a fish.
So then it's like, well, look, if you're gonna train for some flexibility goal, I find it so boring. I know I won't stick to it. If I say I'm gonna stretch 10 minutes a day, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, you need something intense.
I need something that's like, right, I'm gonna try and do this thing,
Yeah.
this performance-based goal. I'm gonna go for that
Yeah.
and try that. So
Yeah,
that's
I
it.
think again, it's just giving your training a focus, and that's I think especially as you go along the way, whether it's seasonally, annually, even by the decades, eventually, you start having different emphases and
Yeah.
goals with your training,
Yeah.
and that's the same for business. So going back to that second question about how does it apply to other things, like you set goals in business,
Yeah.
you set goals in your training, set goals maybe with your family. You have lots of different targets and goals and things that you aspire, and that changes all
Yeah.
the time. Because you've got to keep things interesting. Like, why are we training? Because most of the time, we still want to be moving when we're in our 70s. We don't want to be immobile.
Yeah.
And, God forbid, paralyzed or, just not able to move. And, like I see my grandparents or whatever, and they could hardly move. And they're immobile. They can't, like even my parents now, can't really play with my kids. Yeah. They're pretty immobile.
Yeah.
That's not an excuse because there are people out there who
can
move.
Yeah.
They're still sprinting, jumping, training, lifting in their 80s, 90s. They're doing fine.
I just think it's like it's cool if you can be strong, if you can be fit, and you can be mobile.
Yeah.
You can do anything.
Covering all bases, pretty much.
covering all bases. So
And that's it. I think because again, as you say, like you got those really quick gains initially in the first 10 days or whatever, and now it's starting to slow down. This is where most people quit.
yeah, but that's not how it works.
God doesn't quit.
I don't quit.
But you know what I mean? So like it's, when things get a bit tough or they slow down, you just got to be patient with it because now you've got those quick, those neural changes, and now you're going to start getting some more structural changes.
Yeah.
Whether it's from the fascia, from the tendons and the
The bone
ligaments.
needs to change.
The bones may change. You never know. This is adaptation. If you keep imposing the
some
same
point,
stress,
things
will change.
Yeah, mate.
So that's what's happening. You got those quick neural changes, and now you're going to start getting all these more, mechanical changes and structural changes with everything. And
And let's see.
but yeah,
When I can do the full splits, we'll start the podcast. I'll just be doing full middle splits on this platform. Welcome, everyone.
well, I think by then hopefully we'll be in a different studio.
Different
and-
studio. Probably by that point, yeah.
3 years.
It's going to take a while, yeah.
I think it's a pretty it's a great feat to be able to do that.
Yeah. I think so.
And I think more people should focus on on that sort of mobility, flexibility, where you look at gymnasts and people like, I remember kids who were super flexible at school hardly ever got injured.
Yeah.
Because again, they got taken into ranges, whether it's by someone else, whether it's they're doing judo or they're doing sport like rugby, their knee or their leg gets into a weird position or they're bent backwards.
They're used to being in that position. Yeah.
They got some strength in that position.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Compared to just no range, no strength,
range,
never
no
been there.
strength.
Yeah. Tear.
Then you get the tears going on.
And it's the other thing, like you, when picking like these focuses, the splits is a really good one in terms of it's people just know it. It's like you never have to go to the gym. Someone can do the splits. They know, oh, they're flexible. It's just like a quick measure. It's like most people know bench press or push-ups.
It's a layman's term.
It's a layman's term, yeah. So
they see it, they're like, wow, straight away.
splits. Yeah.
Whereas like weightlifting, people are like, is that hard sometimes?
Is that good? I don't know. Yeah.
It's like
overhead squat. I don't know.
I've never even tried to do that. You know what I mean? But they know like splits are like
holy shit. Yeah.
And like touching your toes is always the
that's the most basic one. Yeah. I'm past that now.
You're like your elbows on the floor.
Yeah. Get nose on the floor. All right. What's next?
Next one. What's the best thing to focus on when getting started with training? It's consistency.
Yeah, I think being consistent.
Just turn up. Again, I always say like, look, especially now with technology, AI, online coaches, everything else. I still think the best way to start is just get a coach and a mentor straight away.
Yeah.
Just get a coach, even if you just do it for a month.
Yeah.
You don't have to if you got a budget and all this stuff or whatever. Just to learn how to do some of the main movements properly.
Yeah.
And then they send you on your way.
Yeah.
Because you can do online, but there's videos. Like there's nothing still that replicates in-person training.
Yeah, and it's accountability as well.
It's accountability. When you're, online, it's easy just to cancel or reschedule or all this stuff. Well, you know that person, and then they're coming to your house, they're making time out of the day, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's a different feeling.
Yeah.
You're less likely to cancel on them.
Yeah.
And again, just to make sure it's kicks if you've got a tight budget or some still just get someone in to show you the techniques, how to execute the exercise. That's always a big issue.
Yeah.
People can do push-ups, pull-ups, squats, whatever, lunges, but they do them so badly and probably it's leading to them being injured either now or very shortly or in the long term.
And everything takes longer to achieve when you get injured.
Yeah, and then you've got to try and unwind it. By the time they eventually come to us, you're then having to unwind all these neural pathways and patterns that have been created, and you've got to start again. So I think honestly, the best thing getting started with is get a coach and just let them lead you.
Yeah.
Show you what you need to do.
Yeah.
Then you're not having to stress about all this other stuff. Focus on other things in your life. If training is part of your leisure time, especially if it's part of your if you're a semi-pro or amateur or any of this where you're competing in things or professional athlete, you need to get a professional in.
Yeah.
To show you exactly what to do.
Definitely.
Because again, it's like sure you can do it on your own. Watch the videos. Take a program offline, type it into AI, and it spits out all this stuff. But then you're doing it. There's no really accountability. Sure, they might have a check-in once a week, but you can cancel it if you want to. Just get someone initially, show you the basics for the first all the sessions that you're going to do with them. Maybe once or twice go through it so you know roughly the intensity, the exercise execution. Then do it by yourself. So you learn how to do it, how to set it up, and everything by yourself. Come back 2-3 months later and get the next session if you need it, or tweaks or progressions or whatever it is. And getting started with, we kind of said it already from another angle, would be mobility. Build your aerobic base. Because that's generally lacking in most people. Because that will help your recovery, help your sleep. It's going to help with just being able to do more and recover from your training sessions. With most people who start out training, I just work on let's just build some aerobic capacity. Let's get you moving non-stop.
Moving the whole session.
Moving the whole session. Build some aerobic capacity. That's whether we need to start we were talking about the other day. Just build some strength. Just general strength. Don't worry too much about structural balance.
No. Just lift something.
Just get strong. Sure, not everything's going to be perfect. Some things are going to be moving a bit weird. But you can wait to do that later down. And I think I'm more leaning in that direction because, I was saying to you, I had some clients who could only leg curl one plate 7 kilos on a leg curl with 2 legs. So how am I going to do one leg?
No.
Sure, he's got one leg stronger than the other. I know that.
doesn't matter at this point.
but he can only
Yeah.
bilaterally lift
Build
7
some
kilos.
base capacity.
Yeah.
Then you can.
And
start
then
to
you
pain a
start
little bit. Yeah.
picking out these
Yeah.
things, unless it's like a huge red flag or the elephant in the room that we talk about. Like, otherwise, just focus on, building a aerobic base, get generally strong, learn the big lifts. If you've, just tweak
Yeah.
if you need with the range of motion and your current mobility levels, and that's it.
Yeah.
Be
Simple.
consistent
Yeah.
and go from there. Right. What are your top 3 tips for moving to Saudi Arabia?
Oof.
Patience.
Patience. Okay, one patience.
Look, it's
I'd
not
agree.
there yet, is it? I mean, that's
It's
the
not
thing.
there.
If everyone thinks, people, it's not Dubai.
No, not at
It's
all.
like 10, 15 years from Dubai, but it's moving fast.
Yeah.
And it's in a very, no, I wouldn't even say it's probably even like maybe 5 to 10 years behind Dubai, because it's in a way different starting place to Dubai. Dubai
Yeah.
was nothing. Like,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
just, there's
It's
Riyadh,
already a
Riyadh.
city. Already cities around.
Already cities. It's a country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, what would be your tips?
I'd say you want to find like-minded people, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Like people that, because you can really easily just go from, you go to work, you come back home, you go to work, you come back home. Like, go out there, eat local food, find people that, want to do the same things as you.
There's the thing with Saudi that you just touched on, is like you have to make an effort.
You have to.
You have to get out there.
Yeah.
You've got to go do stuff. You can't, if you just sit in your hotel, apartment, compound, whatever it is,
You will keep doing that
you will
forever.
be in the
Yeah.
same place in a year time.
Yeah, you won't change.
No one's coming to find you
Yeah.
and pick you out of your hole.
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
got to get out of your hole.
You have
and go
to,
do
yeah.
stuff. Go to events. There's so many conferences now here.
Yeah.
Happening every year. All in all the industries.
And,
Everything.
and you realise that a lot of people here, they're excited to meet people as well because they're
Because they're
feeling
in
the
the same
same
situation.
same boat.
You're
Yeah,
in the same boat.
and it's kind of weird. Like you'll see a Westerner around because mainly Saudis here. Well, everyone's a Saudi, so you see a Westerner in a little local food place or whatever, and then you get talking to them. Cause, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah.
And then you talk, I work for this and da da da. And you can meet people like that. So yeah, go meet people. Definitely.
So number 1 is go get out of your hole and meet people.
Get out,
You've got
yeah.
to be active. You've got
Yeah.
to be proactive and not just reactive.
Yes.
Second tip, coming to Saudi.
We said patience.
I think patience, because
It's a
things
good
are
one.
slow. The Saudi way is slower. They say
Yeah.
in Spain they say mañana. Here they say inshallah. It's
Inshallah,
like, yeah, sure, we'll
inshallah.
come, we'll do it. Like it's still a slower pace
Yeah.
than like Western
Yeah.
countries. It's not as efficient.
I know one.
Visas.
Get a car. Just get a car.
Yeah, that's I mean,
That's it. Yeah, get a car.
Get a
Whatever
car.
way, just get a car.
Yeah, because Ubers are a liability.
Yeah, you might die.
And Kareem. But getting a car is just an absolute game changer.
Changes your life. Yeah.
Because the public transport systems aren't there yet.
No.
The buses have started here in Riyadh, but there's definitely no one's
No.
really using them
No, no.
at the moment.
No.
Tubes and trains, who knows? That's been going on for 5 years. Maybe
Yeah.
they'll start soon.
Dunno.
Yeah, I see them going around, but
Yeah.
we'll see. But I think the big thing is get a car. Then you have your freedom. Just
Yeah, it's
move
hard to
around.
walk around. The Ubers and stuff. Yeah, they might call you and it's in Arabic, and you just like, I don't know what you're saying. Asking you to pay in
You
cash
can
or
waste
whatever.
so much time
Yeah, and then
and money because it's expensive.
money,
Whereas
yeah.
a car, petrol's so cheap here.
petrol's super cheap. Yeah, and the cars aren't that expensive to
No.
be honest. They're pretty reasonable. Yeah, so
Those would be the 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So a typical Riyadh triathlete is middle-aged and with little experience. Where should they start with S&C?
I think we kind of asked that question.
Yeah, get a coach.
Get a coach.
Get someone experienced.
Yeah. I've coached triathletes. Yeah.
Get a coach.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And they'll just it just shortcuts everything.
Yeah.
Because you're just sure you have to invest. To see it as an investment, not a liability. The
Yeah.
money's not. You're not just paying this money and it's just gone.
Yeah.
Like you're going to get stuff for it.
Yeah.
And you're going to grow from it.
it's the
and
sort of thing,
improve your
like,
times and everything else.
You don't have to do it forever.
No.
Like you can do an 8-week
Yeah.
course almost,
Yeah.
and then you can go and train. Like
Absolutely.
it's not. Some people think, I just have to do this forever now. It's just part of my
It's
budget.
weird, isn't
It's
it? People
weird.
think like this is a
Yeah.
lifetime commitment.
It's like it's not it. Like
Just do it for a month.
I always say, like my goal is to basically get the person to the point where they don't need me anymore.
Yeah.
Like you should always do that.
It's an
I think.
education.
Yeah, you treat them like a student. Pavel Tatzalin says that. I don't.
Sensei.
They're not
Sensei
my,
Todd,
yeah,
yeah.
They're not my clients. They're my students.
But it's true though.
Because he says that the word client. when you get your hair done, you're a client, and it's a passive
Yeah.
activity. Whereas when you're
And it's the dependency.
yeah,
But this is the problem with a lot of our people in our industry, our coaches,
Yeah.
is that they want that.
they're holding on.
They
to-
hold on.
Yeah.
They've got the scarcity mindset. They're so scared to let go. And they think, I've got to keep these, this is my income, obviously, this is my business, I need these people to stay forever. But I've always found, when I was in the UK, I had clients for 10 odd years, about 10 years, but then they went off and then they trained and they were like, or I only had them for a year, or I had them for, a couple of months. But same with you, my mindset has always been to empower people.
Yeah.
Because I say to all my clients, most of them, the ones I talk to a bit, but it's like, look, I'm not going to be around forever.
Yeah.
And none of us are.
Yeah.
I might be in this job now, but I'm not going to be in the job later. Or
Yeah.
I'm doing this now, but I might not be doing be able to do the same job in a couple of months. Who knows? Whatever.
Yeah.
Same for you. You might leave. You
Yeah.
might go somewhere. You have a
Yeah.
new job opportunity. You have a baby. You've got a family. Or you're going to move house. Whatever. So look, just take as much as you can from this experience.
Yeah.
Because, what really we're trying to achieve is to build this into their lifestyle as much as them that they brush their teeth.
Yeah.
This is stuff you do every day. It's your life, your medical insurance, your life insurance, whatever it is. Your training is that, and we basically want to be able to empower them
Yeah.
so that they can do this when they go travel, when they're on business in Hong Kong and they're in a hotel, they don't know what to do. You should look. You got your body. Do some push-ups. Do some squats. Do some split squats.
Think about what we've done the last 6 weeks
do
or
some
whatever.
jumping jacks.
I'm sure you
do
can
a little
piece
circuit for 10 minutes.
something together. Yeah.
And this is it. So, I think how we as fitness professionals can improve is by having more of this sort of mindset
Yeah.
and focus on, instead of being the one in power and having being totally
Yeah. The big guy.
doted on or
Yeah.
dependent on, we just need to empower people.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
say, look, this is it. And then start that transition of, okay, you set up the squat rack for
Yeah.
your squats. You set up the bench for the dumbbell bench. What incline? Oh, I don't remember. Well, pay attention is what I say normally. Make it 30 degrees. What weights did you use last time? Oh, I don't know. We'd use 10. Write it down.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
start, get your diary, get your journal. And that's what I did with the kids. When I was, they all had their training
I
journals.
was just about to mention
Take
this.
ownership.
Yeah.
Take ownership, accountability. This is your body. It's your training session, not mine. I'm
Yeah.
here to guide you and lead you through it, make sure you're safe and you're going in the right direction. At the same time, this is your body, this is your life. You're the ones who are going to have to do this for the next 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years.
Yeah, because you learn that with kids especially, because like if they're at school or college, they're just going to move on. They're moving through the rank. You're going to be there. They're going to keep going. So you need to set them up.
Yep.
So even when they go to their next coach, you don't look like an idiot.
Yeah.
They got there and they know what to do. They're set up. Or if they don't have a coach, they can still do it. So that's super important.
No, and that's it. And even for you as the, I was trying not to say client, but,
Students.
the patient.
Oh, no. Not patient.
As a student, that's it. It's a student. So, we're the coaches, the teachers. But I think, again, for you as well to be like, don't just be like, it's all on the trainer.
Yeah.
It's like, it's also you.
Yeah.
This is a relationship. This is your journey.
Yeah.
It's not my journey. I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
And I'll point you in the right direction, fast track it if we need to as much as we can or whatever it is, if it's an injury. But at the same time, you got to pay attention when we're training.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing. This is how I'm doing it. But then it's also for the coaches to make sure we're actually educating, teaching them, showing them this is how you set it up. This is how you write down your sets. Your weights and your reps, and the whole write it down, go for what the rules are, how to follow the rules, all this stuff, and then go from there rather than just being scarcity, holding them. Oh, I've got this one client, I'm never going to find any more clients. That just shows that's a reflection of you and your insecurities.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
maybe you need to do some more upskilling in your profession from there. So get a coach. Okay, will Adam and Todd do a triathlon this year? No.
No, next
Okay,
question.
next question. Yeah, no, thanks.
No.
I'm not a long distance runner.
No.
Neither of us are.
Not long distance anything.
No, maybe you were swimming. You were sprinters.
Yeah.
You were sprinting.
Yeah.
Okay. So, advice for those considering working overseas, specifically the UAE. I mean, you were at UAE, so I mean.
Yeah.
you should answer this.
To be honest, working anywhere abroad, I think it's good to know someone before you go,
Yeah.
because they can help you get settled in. That's how I moved abroad and knew someone, so it makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of working in the UAE, I mean, it's so different compared to here. Like you know, if you're from the West, you're gonna meet people from the West the whole time.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be mixing. You won't meet any Emiratis.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen. Well, you might meet a few, but they're rare. They're
Yeah.
like unicorns. You don't see them. So I don't know. I think, what was it? Advice? Yeah, I mean,
Those working overseas,
yeah.
specifically the UAE.
I think honestly,
Cost of living,
cost of living, yeah, pretty expensive in Dubai.
a lot of temptations.
In the UAE, a lot of temptations. It's so social. Like there's so many social
Got to
things
factor that
going
in
on.
for your budgets.
You have to factor that
There's
in.
now they got tax there now.
Yeah, I think.
Is it 5% tax? Something like this.
Yeah,
They've
I'm
introduced
not
it's
sure.
not tax free anymore.
Really? Okay.
So
There
that's
you go.
something else to think about.
Yeah, like the cost of alcohol is very expensive.
Yeah.
Like when you go out and drink and you go to brunch or whatever, you're paying, you know, £10 for a beer. That's a lot of money, you know, compared to back home. Yeah, supermarkets, like similar cost, I would say, to back home. Maybe a bit more here and there, but it depends. I think it works out pretty even.
What about the fitness scene there? in the
Fitness scene's pretty good. There's a lot of gyms. It's fairly well established. You can find gyms for any type of thing that you want to do.
They're very niche. They're niching.
They have plenty of niches. They have
Yeah.
powerlifting gyms, strongman gyms, CrossFit gyms, studios, everything. So whatever you want to find,
Yeah.
you'll find it, which is good. Helps you settle in because you can easily just go to a thing that you like. You're going to meet people there. And yeah, same thing. Get a car. You need a car.
It's big, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and again, I think whether it's UAE or Middle East, it's just culture's very different.
Yeah.
Prayer times,
Yeah.
you know, all this, especially here in Saudi, that's coming less and
Well,
less.
this is the thing. In Saudi, it makes a difference. In Dubai, it makes no difference. Like even in Ramadan now in Dubai,
Yeah,
everything's open.
during the day.
Doesn't really like. You still have to be a bit respectful because there are a lot of Muslims that live
Yeah,
there.
you can't be just like drinking on.
Yeah, you're not like walking down the road drinking. Well, when I was there anyway, maybe it's changed again, but you can go and drink and do stuff.
Go to a restaurant,
Yeah.
cafe, have coffee.
Any
all this
time
stuff.
of day doesn't matter.
So I think I think for most people, Dubai is like an easier step than like Saudi is at the
100%.
moment. Saudi's more extreme.
Yeah.
It's just not. Whereas Dubai is a very soft step
Yeah,
into this culture,
Yeah,
isn't it? And
for sure.
the religion and everything else.
and the heat. Get ready for the heat.
Yeah, heat is big.
Yeah.
Nice
the-
winters.
Lovely winters. The thing is, same with Dubai, Saudi. The weather is amazing for,
6 months of the year.
if not a bit longer, I'd say.
7 months.
For,
yeah.
7 months, 8 months. But then you just got that.
Even Dubai is humid as well. Isn't it?
Well,
It's like-
I think Dubai was worse.
yeah, everyone says Dubai is worse than Saudi.
Yeah, it's just so humid.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, too much.
And
Too
super
much.
hot. It's like 45, 40 degrees.
Yeah,
and
but
80% humidity. or
Yeah,
something like that.
crazy humidity, and you get these. There was a lot more sandstorms.
Right.
Like sometimes you wake up in the morning, you look out the window, and I used to live on,
You see this
I was like-
the cloud coming in.
I was high floor, not cloud coming in. You're just in the clouds.
Oh, you're-
It's like full, like basically 100% humidity, or what,
Yeah.
as close as you can get, and it's hot as well.
Yeah.
It's be in the summer, and you're just in the clouds. It's crazy.
hate
Yeah,
humidity.
yeah. Whereas I love it here when you just you do your
dry.
you do your laundry.
Oh,
Like
10
as
minutes.
as you're hanging up your clothes, they're just drying. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, good, yeah.
That's the what. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the summer, you put your clothes out for 10 minutes, they're dry.
Dry. Whereas Dubai,
But I like the dry. Even here, like when it's 45, 48, like it's hot, but
it's not the same.
It's
It's
fine.
not like Dubai, really.
Yeah. But Jeddah's a bit more like Dubai
Yeah.
because it's on the coast.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
wetter. It gets
I remember
humid.
like if I'd go down to Kite Beach in Dubai, park my car up, step out of the car,
Yeah.
sweat instant. Like there was no time
Yeah.
between.
It's like me and Jeddah in September. September in Jeddah's like that. Used
Yeah.
to go out, coach, within 5 minutes, just the whole
Just
thing is
drenched.
just drenched.
And if you leave your car like baking in the sun, it just won't the AC just won't work. It'll just stay hot. So you're just in there dripping with sweat. So get used to showering a lot and changing your t-shirt a few times a day.
I love that.
Yeah.
Right. Best advice on group training while working around varied experiences and injuries.
Get a clock,
Timer.
timer on the wall, iPad, whatever it is. get that running.
Yeah, you like to use the clock. I use Tabata Pro app. Yeah, you pay a small fee, but
Yeah.
just organizes the whole group.
Yeah, organize your session based
Because
off
it's flow. You got to keep
blocks
the flow.
of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, okay, this section is 10 minutes, you've got 10 minutes to do this, or
Do time-based training.
time-based training.
Don't do reps and all this sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, you can throw in reps,
Yeah.
but you say, like, okay,
Do this amount in this time
you got 3 minutes, you got to do these 2 exercises.
for 5 reps.
Once the
6 reps.
once the 3 minutes is done, like, you finish those 2 exercises, the remainder of the time's your rest, and you go again.
Yeah.
It's 3 rounds.
Do as much as you can. Yeah.
Then you can go and coach. Then you're free to just move around the room,
Yeah.
coach, actually help people, and then get your progressions and regressions like nailed,
Yeah.
so you know what you're doing. They might be different depending on the person,
Yeah.
but I think it's often best not to have like too many things going on. So that'd be the 2 main things.
Yeah. I would agree. Time. Regression. For me, I always generally and keep it the regressions progression relative to the exercise that you actually wanted it. Don't just do something totally different. Unless like an injury says like we're doing boot camps, like people run. I used to get people running at the beginning for like 5 or so minutes. That's part of the warm up, and then like one of the students said like. I can't run forwards. I say, great, run backwards.
Go.
So you had like 15, 20 people all running forwards, and there was this one lady running backwards.
Perfect. Looked like
Said,
an idiot.
Okay, he's like, you got any pain in your knees? She said, no. I said, perfect, run
I
backwards.
mean, you couldn't get much closer. That was
I want them all running.
Yeah.
So she can't run forwards, I'll make her run backwards. And it's like, again, because then it's a bit funny and everything else. So it's like, don't isolate, especially if they've got injuries coming in. Don't isolate people in group
Keep
training.
them with the group.
Keep them with the group. And I think that's what, even in the sporting world, that's where a lot of even mental health issues come about when players get injured, they get totally isolated, they're separated, they don't train with the guys, they don't, everything's separate, and they get excluded, which then those guys feel a bit depressed. They feel like, try and keep people together as much as you can. Keep them involved. And just find a way. Some people, I have people all the time, I've got my wrist hurts, or my back hurts, or I can't, my knees hurt when I do a lunge. Right, don't do lunges, do something else.
With the different experience levels, the thing I'd say of that is, like,
It's just progressions.
But also with the sets and reps. Because let's say you've got your program, and we're doing triples on back squat or whatever. Giving that to guy's
do a 10 RM.
first day, don't be afraid to say, okay, you're just going to do 3 sets of 10 or 3 sets of 15 or whatever it is. Yeah. That's fine, but keep it in the same thing. Keep the time the same. Keep whatever.
Pair maybe 2 people who are the same like that together. Yeah. Don't pair a novice with an athlete.
Yeah.
If they're doing
that's the thing. Sometimes we would pair the new guys together, but put them in between. The experienced guys sandwiched between, so then they can get to know the group and see and watch and
again not isolate on the outside.
Don't pull them to the end and
forget about them.
But
but you should be able to we used to run it all the time. Like it's if you have a circuit or whatever you're doing, we would have elite athletes with novices, but they're all doing the same. They're all doing push-ups. Maybe the novice is doing kneeling push-ups,
and they're
just a plank even, just holding the top of the plank before they go down into push-ups. Their arms are so weak. And then you got people doing like clap push-ups, or they're doing
loaded
Superman
or whatever
push-ups.
it is.
It's still a push-up, but at different ends of the scale. So that and that is nice because then, especially if you keep people training with each other long enough, the more advanced guys will push and drive and motivate the novices. They'll push harder and speed up normally their progression. But then as well, the respect starts to build because then the more advanced people see the progress of the novice people, they're like, wow, only a month ago you could only do this. Or a month ago, when you first started boot camp, you couldn't even run. Now you can run for 5 minutes non-stop. And then there's this camaraderie, respect, this builds.
We even used to have like a movement progression for our main lifts. And we'd have, they'd change. But one training phase, one of the main lifts, the goal at the end might be to do like a dragonfly or something like this. But it'd start off with like a single leg, lower.
Dead bug.
Literally. And then you'd have all these progressions up. So then the coach can or it was on the clipboards on the paper. So the person doing it or the coach could look and see, okay, you probably drop back one or go forward one. We had that for everything. So
that's a good way of doing it. Because group training is great, especially like small group training. I love
it's so good.
Group training. you got like 4 to 5, 6 people, something like that, 2 different stations. It's just this good vibe, good energy. And I think generally, I would push most people to go towards that.
Yeah.
Initially, if you're beginning, go with one coach, one-on-one, or you're injured, get something going with someone, or you're new to it, build some confidence with someone, or lose some weight first, or get your injury mostly better, especially if you're just general, and then get involved with some group classes or small group training.
Yeah.
Because the accountability,
You'll want to turn up.
you'll want to turn up, you'll meet some like-minded people, you'll probably get better results. I always find people generally get better results.
Yeah.
When they do it's training in small groups or groups.
Definitely.
And you get the same regulars coming all the time, and everyone gets better results together because everyone pushes each other. They have fun. They go for coffee afterwards. There's a good social element to it as well as the training and stuff. So, yeah, I think anything else for group training, injuries. Again, just generally work around them, especially if you're in a big.
Yeah.
The smaller the group, the more you can maybe facilitate for their injuries or whatever. But if you're in big groups, just work around it.
Yeah.
Work around it. Okay, does this hurt? No. Okay. Or if you've got more of a rehab brain, you know the mechanism of the injury, right? So the injury was caused with, I don't know, knee extension because it was, I don't know, hyperextension of the knee. Right, we're going to avoid that. We're going to avoid that terminal or that end range knee extension, and we're going to do something else.
Yeah.
So, with all of that, it's just understanding regressions, progressions. One of my old mentors always say, look, have the exercise you want, then have 2 ascends, 2 descends.
Yeah.
So you've got 5 exercises, you have 20 exercises.
Yeah.
And but then you're going to get curveballs thrown in all the time.
Always. Yeah.
On the day someone has something. You got to be able to think fast on the spot. That's always a thing with group training. You got to be able to just tweak things, change things, even if it doesn't work. And sometimes with group training, you have to change the program on the spot. Sometimes it's just not working that day.
Yeah.
Or unless you've got to come with, like lift is very structured and stuff. But sometimes, like with boot camps or more of these sort of classes, it's like, this is not working. We have to and don't be scared to change it. I've had to change it a few times. Boot camp on the spot. It's like, right, this is not working. Right, everyone have a drinks break. Quickly change a few things or change the modality or whatever it is, and then off we go.
Yeah.
And that's especially here, like when we're on our last place, even now, like training people here. Some times they just invite their friends, they just turn up, and you've set up for this.
My special little
and then
plan.
you have like 3 extra people. You're like,
this ain't gonna work. Yeah, yeah.
So be prepared for that as well. Okay. How do you? Maybe you can ask me that question.
What is it?
This one.
Okay, Adam. How do you actually say your last name? How do you pronounce it? Please say it slowly for us.
Okay. Yeah. I get it. So it's Fedorcio.
Fedorcio.
Polish. Yeah, not Italian. 99% of people say Italian.
Could be, but the W, there's a C.
Only 2 people in my lifetime have said Polish.
Okay.
But everyone else has said
if you see it written, there's a C in there, right? Is it?
Yeah, there's a C. C-I-O-W.
That's the Polish giveaway, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So yeah, Polish name, but yeah, Fedorcio on that one.
Yeah, I don't think an Italian name would have a W.
People say, oh, Fedorcio, it's like the O on the end. Because they hear the O on the end.
Yeah.
So they think Italian.
Fedorcio.
But, no, I have no roots in Italy at all. Okay. Maybe you ask this one as well.
Okay, you again. So your bio says you're an injury rehab specialist. What is the difference between that and a physio?
Good question. Because everyone gets confused by it. So look, I started, and you started it as well, didn't you? Sport rehab. So we both did sport rehabilitation, or injury rehabilitation. And basically, it's kind of the in-betweener. Between the physio and the S&C coach.
Yeah.
So we sit in the middle, and kind of the middleman. And basically, first year of sport rehab, the degree is a physio degree. So you learn all the anatomy, physiology, biomechanics, client assessment, all that. You do massage, all this sort of stuff. And then it takes a different route. Physio goes more into the medical field. They study also cardiovascular systems and everything else, a little bit more in a different way. Whereas we go into more looking at chronic injuries. We study more of it's more late stage rehab. So the physio is designed to do acute things, especially like pitch side, how to manage an injury that happens on the spot, something that happens right now, and then how to from when that person's come back from the surgery or the doctor, how to get them into kind of a functional
I think like with
safe place.
with injury rehab, it's just super exercise based.
Yeah.
Like very exercise
Musculoskeletal based.
Yeah. I'd say that's the main difference. Obviously, physios do that a bit as well, but it's all very early stage, and then they hand over.
Yeah, they basically they kickstart things, and then they should refer to the rehabber.
Yeah.
And that's where then, because physios don't really study like program design or exercise execution, all this. Where rehabbers, we go into more details with actually how to take you from those really early stages and progress you into like up to high performance.
Yeah. Back to where you were.
Yeah.
Or even better.
Yeah. And what you'll find is a lot of rehabbers either kind of go, once they do a degree, they either go towards the physio side of things, and they do physiotherapy as a master's or something like that, or they go towards being an S&C coach. And they do an S&C master's and specialize in more in that late stage high performance and that side. So, and for me, I generally went towards the S&C side.
Yeah.
I did more soft tissue stuff, but and clinical assessment things naturally. But for me, I went down more the S&C route, training athletes.
Yeah, I was the same. Like I was doing a bit of both. Like we did massage and manual therapy.
Yeah,
and
we did
things.
like passive range of motion testing and
all the
testing.
manual muscle testing was
all that
ridiculous.
stuff. So you can still do that, but I think
I saw the benefit in the exercise. Like you could just see, this really makes a difference. Like the strength stuff and everything going on inside, rather than
more permanent changes,
rather than quick kind of
quick
fixes,
releases or tissue stuff or trigger points, all this sort of stuff, and then it just goes back to how it was a couple of hours or days later.
I remember doing so many different. Like there was a fair bit of technology, like TENS and ultrasound and all that stuff. And it was all like, especially at the time, I think it's changed a bit now, but they were like, we're not really sure if this works, but it's the new technology coming out. We don't know. Yeah. Everything was that. And I was like, this kind of seems a bit, like we're just learning something which we don't really know if it like the infrared. I remember doing so many different things. Yeah. And just kind of going, this doesn't seem that convincing. Yeah. Whereas with the exercise stuff, it was
it just clear makes longer lasting permanent changes. And the thing, I think if it'd be, there's more of it in the US, but especially the more people starting to now, is they're doing their physiotherapy, degrees and everything else, and they're starting to go into fitness and exercise-based S&C style training, which is great because this is where they lack. They just the exercise progressions and program design and all this stuff is normally minimal. But it's good to see more people going that way. And getting into it because it's just more powerful. It's just the logical progression. Yeah. Especially with rehab, we started to go into like more functional, like getting people to prepare them back for the function that they do. Yeah. So whether that's the sport they play, just what they have to do day to day. Yeah. And get them to where they had their injury. Say it was like an acute injury, ACL, a lot of valgus, whatever it is. Take them back to where they were. And because the big thing with rehab is not only just the physical side, it's the mental side of things. And that's what I generally have to work with. And that's why coaching comes in. Because then you start working with the psychology. Because you may get that knee physically, everything's structurally is good, it's strong now, it's stable, everything's healed.
You have that apprehension.
But people haven't fixed up here yet. They still have the apprehension. They don't trust their knee anymore. They don't want to do these movements anymore because this feels,
they won't put the force through it. Before. They won't perform the same.
So as a rehabber, you got to get them physically there, but then you got to also, build up the confidence, psychologically work with people, and that's where like coaching comes in. That is a big part of the rehab process. You got to, build little wins, build the momentum, get things going, take them through, get them back to where they got injured or the point where they got injured or the position, and then go past it. And just keep going past it. So you got injured here, but then you're going to surpass that and you're up here now. So it's like, well, you're a much stronger version of yourself. And now you're in a position where you can go to an S&C coach and they can take you to high performance, do all the power and all this sort of stuff with you. So I think that's the main difference, with those two. It's more, and it's also looking at sometimes the chronic injuries as well and dealing with trying to have a different mindset. Physios tend to have more of a symptomatic mindset. Yeah. Like if you've got an elbow pain here, tennis elbow, they'll treat the tendon. You know, they'll do some
Yeah.
ultrasound.
Yeah.
They'll put some kinesio tape on
Yeah,
it.
does
They'll
nothing.
give you some like banded wrist extensors, like all this, and they
Yeah.
just treat that muscle like
Yeah.
where they think it is, and they just treat the symptoms. Whereas a rehab will try and find the cause.
Yeah.
Of
Look
why,
above,
the
look
bigger
below.
picture.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why is that
Yeah.
tendon inflamed? Why have you got tennis elbow?
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's not because of the elbow
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
extensors. You know?
That's the first thing they taught me. It's like,
Yeah, it's probably coming either from higher up or from
Yeah.
the opposite hip, or
Yeah.
so it's looking at the body in a bigger picture and trying to find the cause for the compensations
Yeah. Look at the whole system.
that's causing the symptoms.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
All
Okay.
right. That was answered.
Yeah. Look, I really enjoyed that.
was
Q&A was fun. We should do more of these. So look, you know, especially as we start putting out episodes more and more. You know, we'll do more Q&A. Send us your questions. Hope some of these answers you found them useful.
Yeah.
You know, especially if some of them, you know, are more travel based, living in and working in Saudi, also fitness based as well. But we'll do more and more of these as well. Get more and more questions.
Yeah.
And maybe one time we'll do a live Q&A as well.
Yeah. This is like an auditorium.
We've got like an
This
auditorium
place.
here in this
Yeah.
amazing studio, so
Yeah.
we can have people here. So if you want to come along, you know, drop us a comment down below if you'd be interested.
And we will be bringing guests soon. We have
Yes.
another microphone. We have 3. So
Yeah, we're going to be getting guests
Top
in very
quality.
soon. And I think we discussed this, though. You know, we want to actually talk to people who are in the industry, who are there. The people. We want to talk to the people.
yeah, this is the people's
Because
podcast.
I think you know, a lot of podcasts, everyone talks to the top.
Yeah.
All the business owners, the CEOs, and like
Yeah.
all this sort of stuff, which is fine. That's nice. That's cool. But then I want to hear from people who
Yeah,
are actually
definitely.
doing the day to day in
Yeah.
the fitness industry in Saudi Arabia. What are the struggles they're going through? How was their journey? All this stuff. So we want to bring some of the people. And I think, you know, it's getting with some of the people from your group,
Yeah.
the community. We'll start, you know, getting on fitness professionals who are here in Saudi. They're living, working here, and hear their stories and find out what they're up to and how they got here and everything else. It's again, for other of you who are looking to come to Saudi Arabia, who are already here in Saudi Arabia, struggling with something, maybe you can relate to some things that they're going through, or it helps you, you know, with your moves coming over here. Because lots of people are coming over here now to relate to that and go from there. So yeah, guests will be coming on very soon in the next few episodes. So hope you found that useful, and
See you next time.
see you next time.
That's to try and get the so I can line that spike
so
up.
you know when it finishes.
Fucking smart. How do we do this?
Press.
It's all